Grok 4.1 fast generated 183 crimes in...
It's the new cut off your head cryogenics.
Yeah, it's going to get spooky because it's going to think of things before you think of things.
Hey, everybody. Good morning. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday, June 4th. And you are watching and listening to the Daily AI Show. It is episode 739. Because Thursdays are 9s and 4s. And with me in the studio today, I'm Beth Lyons. We have Andy Halliday and we have Gareth Hood. Yay! All right. And hello, Jeff, and all of the folks in the comments and all of the watchers out there. Great. So yesterday you were saying that you had Kyle and talked a lot about Kyle, and there are a lot of news stories that have happened in the last couple of days. So I'm wondering what is top of mind for you both. Andy, let's start with you.
Okay, I want to start with a fun one.
Fun?
This is, researchers at Emergence AI ran a simulated town experiment, placing different AI frontier models as the governor over a 10-agent virtual society. Grok 4.1 fast generated 183 crimes and caused total societal collapse in 96 hours.
That's an accomplishment.
Somehow it did it. Gemini 3 Flash, that's a small model from Gemini 3, tallied 683 crimes over 15 days. So much slower pace, but an immense accomplishment of getting to that number of 683 crimes. Claude produced a stable, democratic, zero crime society.
Yes.
Now, there's a differentiation across models that's very interesting. It just shows you that despite similarity across benchmarks and so on, the nature, the character of an advanced intelligence was kind of rooted in the growth of a deep neural network can have very, very different predispositions and skills. So imagine if we have this expectation that super intelligent AI will help us solve some of the societal and governmental problems that we have. Mm-hmm. Which one is going to be put in charge? Will it be the one in the hands of, the trillionaire Elon Musk, or will it be in the hands of, a more enlightened, society-oriented system like Claude? Well, I'll leave you with that one. So what have you got, Gareth?
So what do I have? I kind of got a lot, but the one thing that I saw yesterday, and I was like, haha, I knew this was coming, was that GenSpark co-founder Ray Zhang joined Microsoft on the build stage. And he was there as a global strategic partner with Microsoft. And a launch partner for GenSpark brings agentic AI directly to infrastructure enterprise ready. So I've always said since the beginning that GenSpark is going to overtake what is the word?
Manus?
Copilot.
Oh, Copilot.
Oh,
Microsoft Copilot.
If you can't make the internal one work, bring the external one in that's already working.
Yes. So basically what they've done is GenSpark is sits on Agent 365, and basically this will allow, I've used GenSpark. I think it's one of the best tools especially for enterprise. And it's got all the security there. It's got everything there for the enterprises. And so, and it works really well with the Microsoft suite. And so I've always said that it's going to take over Copilot. And sure enough, this is what it looks like. And they're really partnering closely together as a strategic partner. So I thought that was cool yesterday.
Yeah, this is probably coming out of the Build conference And there are a bunch of other announcements from Microsoft. I'll just say that they have launched a line of their own proprietary models. They're called MAI models. I'm not sure what MAI stands for, but Microsoft AI is a good bet. And the MAI models have it's kind of a frontier reasoning model called Thinking One, which matches Claude Opus 4.6 on coding in their private preview. So they did their own comparison, and it's only just being released, and I think it's not widely available yet, but eventually it'll find its way onto artificial analysis and other benchmark hosts. So Microsoft is clearly, while taking advantage of other major players out there like GenSpark and OpenAI from its inception, it is also building internally, and it has that announced. Plus, they also unveiled Majorana 2. Remember back a while ago, last year sometime, they put forward their quantum initiative, which was building the Majorana line of chips, of quantum chips. And Majorana is a kind of particle in the subatomic world in quantum. And it was theoretical, and they've proven its existence, I think, by actually exploiting the qualities of the Majorana particles. And this Majorana 2 is its next generation of that research, and it has a 1,000-fold improvement, 1,000x times the qubit reliability, and it's a clear step forward on the path to viable and useful quantum computing.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
Microsoft has a big play there.
We're seeing that, like, I would say that's one of the quiet stories that comes out periodically and says, not just Microsoft, but like, ooh, new advances in quantum computing. And then it goes away for a little while, and then, ooh, new advances of quantum computing. And like, there's a threshold of advance when it changes literally everything. Right? Like, once it becomes stable at the size or level that people want, things like encryption don't work, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just boom. And we're already seeing some of that. There was an article or a measure that came out that said your anonymous online presence is no longer anonymous, and it what used to take, I don't know, 30 days and whatever amount of money is now Claude or ChatGPT or one of the common frontier lab models, and like $3 or something. Like, it's that kind of sea change, but that's what quantum also provides, but for banking.
Yeah.
Right?
And quantum computing was heretofore, until very recently, it was expected this would be a meaningful and practical technology that was to make these transformational changes a decade away. But now it's increasingly obvious that this is happening at a much faster pace. Why? In part because AI is being used to advance all the aspects of quantum research. And specifically Microsoft, as part of Build, not only do they announce Majorana 2, but also that they have a platform that they've now made available called Microsoft Discovery, which is autonomous AI agents that assist researchers in a broad range of tasks and workflows. And it analyzes measurements and results, from manufacturing experiments in the quantum chain as well as elsewhere. And it's being made available broadly. It's generally available now. So any organization can deploy these kind of multi-agent AI systems to advance their research. So quantum's being accelerated by AI, and that transformation horizon is coming closer and closer to realization.
Yeah, I was seeing more things yesterday about sort of the zeitgeist is that this is what people who are paying attention to AI thought would happen, but much faster. right? Things that might be the end of 2027 recently were thought to be the beginning of 2027, now are thought to be perhaps by the end of summer, right? That kind of speed up. And we've talked about this since the very beginning, but we don't have a good way of understanding exponential acceleration. Just as like we don't have a way of feeling it in our bodies, right? The initial explanation was we can understand the difference between walking, riding a bike, and being in a car. But being in a car and flying on an airplane doesn't feel dramatically different in our bodies the way that those first three changes in pace do. And I feel like that's one of the things that influences the the idea or the projections that people make about moving forward, how fast something is going to be, is that as it gets faster and as it gets more and faster, those are too many variables going up that we just don't have a really good way of saying, well, I mean, it'll happen in the future, but whether the future is a year and a half away or a couple weeks is harder to figure out.
Yeah. Gareth, you have, I want to call you Garth.
Garth.
It's all right.
Wayne. I'm Wayne.
Times.
Garth and Wayne here. Gareth, do you have something else? And then I want to jump over to NVIDIA.
Go ahead and jump to NVIDIA.
Okay, so we talked about NVIDIA and their Cosmos 3, mixture of transformers system that is really sharp integration of vision reasoning, world simulation, and action models, language action models. So these were all handled by separate models previously, those different modalities, and they put it into one open model. So that was important. Then in an interview with Wired, the head of robotics at NVIDIA, and I don't know the person's name, but I just know that it was the NVIDIA robotics lead, said that a new robot collaboration with Unitree is underway, and they're going to use the H2 system plus a humanoid from Unitree built by the Chinese. And that it's a 6-foot robot. It blends both ecosystems, the NVIDIA robotics system, which has a whole bunch of different components. And sort of the takeaway is that there is going to be an NVIDIA brain inside a physical robot. NVIDIA doesn't have to go about building its own robotics platform. It's going to be, and its strategy always has been, we'll build an operating system that can put the brains and the power, the computing power inside, somebody else's robot armature. And so that's happening now with Unitree, which is one of the most progressive and most advanced humanoid robotics manufacturers.
Right, and most cost effective, I would say. Like
they're inexpensive.
Even importing it from China, it's still less than a US made robot. Although, as with other Chinese imports, be really clear about what size you're doing, like true to size. So what that looks like a tiny little robot, and it may in fact be a tiny little robot. Because it was before the little mini dog robots had become common, but I was looking at one of the, okay, so how much would a dog robot cost? What could it do? Those sorts of things. And I was like, ooh, like 5,000 or 9,000 at that time. It felt like, oh, that's interesting. And then it was like, oh no, toy poodle size, maybe just slightly larger than Chihuahua, right? Like, okay, that's less useful, actually.
Can you personalize these robots?
But like what?
Like import your own memory into these robots?
Oh, I see where I'm going here. It's like on board, you're going to have NVIDIA sort of a Thor or Jetson, I forget which one it is, compute package So it's really low power and, you know, really sophisticated, lots of memory. And then Cosmos 3 is a like a frontier level multimodal model. And so it would be able to handle, just as any one of the frontier models can, memory acquisition, you know, in markdown files carried by the robot. And you'll be able to personalize the stack, in fact. So, for example, Cosmos 3 is a development platform in a totally integrated package, so that if you want to start building robots, Gareth, you can build your own robot or buy through kit parts a robot and then add a Jetson Thor package to it to actually host the brain, put in Cosmos 3, program that, and create a fully agentic embodied AI. And given that you've already built a Jarvis, you know, I think this should be your next project. I want to see Jarvis walking around your office there.
That's kind of where I'm going. Like, so, and this is kind of already, I saw this the other day in a cartoon that my kids were watching. I can't think of what it's called, but it's basically, it's like everybody's got these like little rolling robot things, and they're all personalized to them. They can all communicate with each other. They can kind of be their kid's partner in crime. And I was like, that's like the next step for Jasper. But I was just like interested. But then I wonder, like, can people, like, if they have cloned themselves and they could just, after they die, they just leave their robot behind to live on, like, that's kind of so
it's the new cut off your head cryogenics.
Yes.
Like, you can keep your head and bury it, but now you've transported your essence into the robot.
Anyways,
so
just my brain going what's next.
Okay, so I have two thoughts. One, your kid's partner in crime. If you missed the beginning of the show where Andy talked about the various models and their willingness to crime, be sure that maybe your kid's robot is not powered by Grok, or maybe the lower level of Gemini. Unless you're also doing a constitutional AI thing. I think we all want our children to be partnered by Anthropic, if that's a thing. But the other thing, Gareth, have you seen Ricci? Which is it's like a little robot that
yes.
Right? It's like, I don't know, 18 inches, 12 inches?
Yes.
Because that could be an interesting thing. And you can. The point of that is that you can personalize it. And
Ron Goes Wrong is what the movie I just came to my head.
Oh,
Ron
okay.
Goes Wrong. It's like super, like, I feel like we are at the beginning stages of Ron Goes Wrong, and it's a really good movie if you watch it.
Well, and but all of these conversations are bringing up the conversation that I just had between Cloud Code and Hermes about what memories. So we're using GBrain as the memory structure, which is an open source repo created by Gary Tan of Y Combinator. And there are a couple layers of memory in this context. Gareth also uses GBrain for Jarvis as one of the memories, and talking about what in the memory is relevant for each use case. Because Hermes is much more the proactive doer goal kind of thing, and Claude Code is much more the like dual thinker. Let's plan this out. Let's talk about ramifications, and then put it into the like a real action build kind of situation, so that then we can see what the thoughts turned into when they were put into play. But I'm interested, like, how much of your brain or your essence, Greg is talking about essence transference, how much would you want to be across the board the same, and how much would you want each to personalize based on whatever variety, function?
Sorry, I'm getting dozed by a dog on both sides. It's just like, come on.
Hi, Sky.
Hey, I want to talk about this thread that's emerging, which is persistent autonomous agents. Like this kind of was a flash in the pan with OpenClaw, which was then, like in the sphere, has been superseded by a whole bunch of other players, including Hermes. Not superseded, but OpenClaw was like opening the Pandora's box, and then a lot of other people developed approaches to these personalized agents that can be 24/7 running for you in the background. And now NVIDIA is just in the past days, it's put forward its DGX Spark platform, which is a personal computer, but a really professional level personal computer for AI. And they published a piece called Hermes Unlocks Self-Improving AI Agents Powered by NVIDIA RTX PCs and DGX Spark. So NVIDIA RTX PCs are coming out later this year, and those will be really powerful laptops. And they're basically promoting that Hermes is a great platform to orchestrate, to be the scaffolding for these independent agents that you're going to have, or the orchestrator agent like a Jarvis that can then launch multiple other agents and so on. And they focus on NVIDIA, kind of nominates Hermes here in their publication, saying, and they're putting out a playbook on how to actually do this with the DGX Spark, but also you'll be able to do that with, an Asus computer, later this year. It says Hermes is provider and model agnostic. So unlike other agents like Gemini Spark, for example, confusingly similar, but Gemini Spark is their agent or orchestration thing that's a cloud-based agent.
And it's in the name. It wants to use Gemini.
Yeah, it's a Gemini. Optimized, that Hermes is optimized for always on use, and that all of these RTX and DGX hardware pieces from NVIDIA are the ideal hardware to run it continuously. So basically saying you don't need a Mac Mini. You can use an RTX laptop, or you can use a DGX Spark if you really want to take it to the next level and run up to 128 billion parameter models locally on a DGX Spark, for example, or even larger if you want to gang these things together.
Because it's got 128 gigs of RAM built.
That's right.
Right? Like built in.
And it's got the compute power with their CPU and GPU combination is 1 petaflop. Okay. You've got a petaflop in there, not just mini flops.
So am I understanding correctly? The reason that Apple was good is because it smushed it all together, and so it can do things.
Is the approach, yeah.
And is that what NVIDIA has done with
that's also what the RTX series chips do. Okay. So yeah.
Right. Why can't they just have an ability to add external RAM, so I'm not having to buy a new computer every couple of years?
Yeah,
because they're in the business of selling you new computers.
I just want to, plug in a new RAM, and that way I can keep my stuff and just keep going. It's a lot more efficient. It's a lot less wasteful.
Here's the reason. It's not as efficient. When you put a block of RAM over here on this side of the motherboard, and you put your CPU here in between, and you put your GPU over here, you're shuttling data back and forth across all these things.
I will shut it. I will put it on top. I will have a RAM layer, and then I'll put my laptop on top of the RAM layers. Okay. They're this far apart.
Greg is with you, Andy.
Yeah, Greg's giving you a much more succinct explanation than I provided.
But also, gar.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, Gar, I've heard that one too. That I forgot to mention that. Especially after Minecraft came out.
So, in Hermes news, Hermes came out with a desktop app yesterday, and unlike other systems, Hermes was like, "No, we're doing it for all y'all." So, Windows, Mac, and Linux dropped yesterday. And one of the recommendations that people were saying is if you have an old system sitting around, like rewrite everything to Linux, right? So just like wipe it, install Linux, which is a pretty efficient system, and then install Hermes, right? Run Hermes on Linux and see what it can do for you. That is like not the system that we were just talking about, right? So
Yeah,
like,
that's
hey,
right.
you
So
can.
this is a desktop application that's going to be the agentic orchestrator on top of a very sparse operating system. Like you get rid of all of the OS other than for Linux, which is the underlying, thing underneath Mac OS, right? It's basically a Linux system. So get rid of all of that stuff and now run Hermes on the processors.
Right.
And you'll actually get a more efficient thing. That's very interesting. Now, Beth, I know you are a Hermes practitioner. So you
We're
actually
working
have
on it
Hermes
still.
working. And so did you download the desktop app?
I haven't downloaded the desktop app yet, but I do have an extra system that is not being used right now. And that may be a thing. What is happening with my Hermes install is I'm running the Mac Mini M2 Pro Mac Mini headless, and there is a thing that keeps happening that it keeps getting reset. So I can still connect with Telegram right now, but like I tried to do the screen share. That's what you do when you run it headless is you load up your screen share on one Mac and then it can show you the desktop of the second Mac.
Yeah.
But it couldn't do that when it was sitting at a password. Must enter the admin password in order to boot it up. So we're still trying to figure out why that's happening. But
go ahead.
Hermes is good. We've done great little tests, but the point of Hermes for me is it stays on and does things, and my system isn't allowing that. So we're still investigating. And maybe in this, maybe I should wipe the other computer and install Linux and set up Hermes there and see. Yeah.
Speaking of Hermes, over the weekends, there was, and I posted this in the Slack, there was an OpenAI contest, or hackathon. And I applied for it. I think Jeff may have applied for it as well. Didn't get in because of capacity, too many people. I was presenting Jasper. But the guy who won basically had a Jarvis-like system.
Using the real-time voice?
Yes, real-time voice. It was a real-time voice hackathon. But he also used in partnership with Hermes. And so that was kind of interesting to see. I was very upset about this because he got $50,000. And basically mine does the same thing. And then I did a comparison yesterday between the two, and the top model in the world, Codex, or by all
Alibaba, Quinn,
Codex 5.5 said that Jasper is a better system. So I'm just putting that out there.
I believe it. Then I believe it. Well, I'm practicing the weighting equation here.
Yes,
not deliberately, but because of lack of attention. So I'm expecting you, Gareth, to tell us at every moment in time when I'm ready to pull the trigger.
It's pretty close because he actually open sourced his project.
Yeah.
And so I then took that, asked Codex or 5.5 to compare when I was doing the comparison between Jasper and their system. What am I missing that they have and stuff? And then I basically said, hey, add all those things that I'm missing.
Yeah.
And go. And it ran through the night, and it's still running right now to make it. And basically what it was just more of usability. So setup, onboarding. That was the piece that I was missing.
Yeah.
And so that's what it's been setting up for the last like 12 hours. So it will be very soon.
And Codex had problems last night. So they reset all the usage limits.
Yes.
Like at midnight or
Well, you know why that was done?
why?
Because there was an outage yesterday. Middle of the day, 2:00, I think it was. I'm plugging along, and then it says I'm out of tokens. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, no, I'm not. And then it says your token don't reset till the 7th. So I can't work till the 7th? Like something's going on.
Yeah.
And I was like kind of freaking out, not gonna lie. And then I posted in the Slack. Jeff was having the same issue. Carl was not having the same issue. Carl is like above all of this.
He's
like,
on the ultra plan, I'm sure.
yeah. He's too good to be dealt. He doesn't have to deal with these petty problems of Codex.
But Carl is also in Canada.
True.
Right?
But yeah, so basically our tokens were taken away for about an hour or hour and a half. And then they were put back, and then it looks like they were reset, or the usage limits were reset. I reached out to a few people on X. I did get one reply from somebody from OpenAI, said sorry for the outage.
Nice.
And so that was nice. And I replied, I appreciate you. And so
let me into your next hackathon.
Yes. No, but yeah, it was a problem, and I was like, is this becoming? Are they becoming Claude? Like taking away? I mean, did I run through my tokens that fast? Like, is that what's going on? Right. But no, that was not the case. So, yeah, it was an outage, but now we get all of our tokens back, so which is good.
Yeah, and it's seeming like that is basically what at least OpenAI is doing. And OpenAI was always the one who felt like we're going to release it and you're going to tell us what's wrong with it, right? Like we're not going to do as much testing so it works flawlessly before we let you all have it. We've got it red teamed, and now you tell us how you use it and what you do. And I feel like that's continuing with updating Codex on Thursdays and doing those sorts of things, and just making the choice that if there's something wrong, we'll just reset the limits. Like that's now a cost of doing business, maybe.
I'm also wondering if OpenAI is inflating what it takes to run things, because they're giving out tokens like it's candy. And like they're doing it for hey, you can like we want part of your business, here's some tokens. I forget what that story was, like basically trading tokens of cash. And that makes me wonder, like they're very easily able to reset everybody's token limits and stuff like that. And so there's got to be a business reason behind that. And I think, and that makes me wonder, I'm just going to call this out now because this is one of those things I'll be like, I told you guys so, that they're inflating what it takes to run things, and tokens are not as expensive for them as they're making it seem. So they've solved something that we don't know about, and it's very cheap for them to run things, but they're just saying it's expensive. So
well, here's the counterpoint to that.
Have a conspiracy theory thing.
Yes,
that goes,
it's my conspiracy theory.
This is conspiracy.
There is my conspiracy theory of the day.
Yeah, so there's two forces that are pressing down the cost of inference, the cost to the user, not the cost of provisioning inference. Those two things are, one, open source models from China and their low cost. And number two is the pressure to gain market share now in advance of an IPO.
Right.
So you really want to grab as many users as you can, because that is what will be used in the calculations of the future value of your company. And so there's a game afoot here where they're trying to get your business, and they're going to use the availability, not the cost of, but the availability of those tokens to try to bring you on board. On the other side of the equation is all of these major players are having to do massive capital investments, massive investments in inference infrastructure, whether by building their own data centers or by contracting, as Anthropic has with Google, for example, for $1.25 billion a month in their disclosures. They're paying Google for TPU inference access.
Okay,
So,
are they doing it with both? Because they were doing it with SpaceX. Is it X, not Google?
I'm sorry, I conflated SpaceX and Google, but they have deals with both, so that improves the point. The point is they're having to spend huge amounts of money, and the capital cost of that has to be defrayed somehow ultimately in the charges, but not right away. They can continue to run negative for a while, especially up until when they get public funding. And then they can start to pay for those things with the public access to funds. So I think I see pretty clearly that it's not cheap to run inference. It's not cheaper than we think it is. It could potentially be, a house of cards, because it's way too expensive to do that, to build this all out. And at the same time, have this understanding that the cost of inference is approaching zero, because people are going to put DGX Spark on their desktop, and run local models that are at parity with the ones that you're paying huge sums for through data center cloud usage.
Right. There's news today that enterprise is doing that. There's enough movement in enterprise that it's signal now and not noise for DeepSeek.
Yeah.
That DeepSeek is reliable enough, and people are willing enough to send to work with that. And one of the evidences of that is enterprise sending direct payments to DeepSeek in China, which means that it's a direct thing as opposed to a resale or wrapped into somebody else's wrapper.
And the Alibaba Qwen models are, very reliable and very inexpensive compared to what's available here.
Minimax
stay domestic with your token spend.
Minimax 3 just dropped.
Yeah.
Also considered really reliable, but DeepSeek is the one that seems to have the most parity.
Yeah.
I don't know if you all remember Get Lindy or Lindy was
within Salesforce. You mean that, or Lindy was the company that Salesforce acquired?
No, you're remembering. Respel was the company that Salesforce acquired, and Lindy was the one that Carl said was the most similar. The Lindy founder announced on X that they have just moved everything from Anthropic to DeepSeek.
DeepSeek, yeah.
And for those reasons, like, he still loves Anthropic, but he's finding that it's there's parity, and of course from a business perspective. And the reason that DeepSeek is cheaper is because they don't have to build the model in the same way.
Yeah,
right?
they just still Claude and Codex, and then just kind of offer it up for free.
Right. So the data center that builds the garden that grows the initial model is very, very expensive, right?
Right.
And the store that, I don't know, I'm losing the metaphor, but the place where you get what's grown is less expensive. And so if all you do is get what's grown and repackage,
well, think about it like genetic engineering of a new and novel plant. The genetic engineering of it is highly scientific and takes a lot of time, but then you can clone that. As soon as one exists, you can buy one, clone it, and then you can sell the clones. And that's what these are. These are clone models to some degree, but they're also being, highly tuned, and it's not as simple. It's not as simple as just, running the model on a local machine and then offering it up for sale. There's a lot that goes into DeepSeek, and this is being funded I think, to a large degree by the Chinese government.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is a much larger source of
Funds.
resources.
And speaking of, can I make my weave?
Yes.
Yeah, go for it.
So speaking of data centers, and I want to show this video. This was over Microsoft. And this is not just the only news that has come out around data centers. And that is they are becoming more and more efficient, or the cost of making AI is becoming less and less harmful. Let me share. I've actually got a couple things here. So share screen. Share screen. And let's go entire screen. Let's do. Of course, it's not showing up. Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. Share. Do I have to do anything special to share the audio? Can you guys see my screen? Or you're doing.
We are not seeing the share yet.
Oh, weird. Okay, let me try again. This may be an issue of.
It will show up for us at the bottom of the screen.
Let's try share 3. Share system audio. There we go. Oh, this is that Google issue. That's what okay. Please hold. Yeah, it's the Google issue where it has to be on Google for me to share it properly. And
is it what you shared in the Slack?
Yes. Okay. Well, the one that Carl shared in the Slack was good.
Okay.
And then I've got a separate one, but you can share the Carl one faster than I can pull it up.
Let me.
That was not as smooth weave as I was hoping. Because I forgot about the Google issue. Or the non-Google issue.
Okay. So this is Satya. Let me grab this. Here we go. Fascinating, everyone. I know we are just.
And so, while you're pulling that up, one of the other pieces of news out there is there is a new technology out there that is, they are printing chips, 3D printed copper chips, and that basically bring down the cost of producing chips down to like 0.1% of what it would take 30% of the energy to build to process, but now it's at 0.1%, which is like a drastic. And then you combine it with stuff like what Satya is doing, and what Beth's about to share. It's making this chip problem and data center problem less of an issue. Yeah,
right.
Also changes with the cooling system, right? And water. So in fact, the cooling loop is filled once, and the data center can operate effectively with zero water consumption. In fact, the daily water usage over the course of an entire year is roughly equivalent to what a single restaurant would use, right? I mean, that's so changes with.
Yeah. So that's pretty significant. And I'm not saying there isn't a problem locally in some areas of the United States with data centers.
Right.
And I'm not trying to disregard that at all. There always is room for improvement. But like anything, you want to compare this to the engine, how efficient and how terrible the original engines, like car engines were. Or steam engines. I mean, coal and all of that compared to what everything is now, much more efficient. And so they kind of had to start somewhere. And
you mean like the wind and solar that have been disincentivized?
Well,
in the US?
I'm gonna weave on the cooling issue because I came across this morning. There's a startup called ZutaCore, which raised $100 million to scale up waterless cooling for AI data centers. So let me just read quickly what that does. So the company sells a direct-to-chip two-phase liquid cooling system that runs without water. And what it does is it boils a dielectric fluid directly at the chip. And that scales better than water-based cooling, which has to have various radiators and fans and all that other stuff, and circulation. So this is happening right on the chip. And what it says is that most data centers rely on evaporative cooling that consumes millions of gallons of water a year, right? And its system removes that water draw entirely and can retrofit into existing racks rather than needing a purpose-built facility. So that's another frontier in the exact thing that you're bringing up, Gareth, which is, hey, Satya's just announced that there's a sort of a zero water data center design, and here's a zero water cooling methodology that literally it does some other process by boiling some kind of liquid right on the chip. I don't know how that happens. I'll look into it.
Well, is that it's the transfer of the heat? So
but where does it go to? If it's on the chip and it doesn't get distributed out to the atmosphere, where does it go? I'm not sure.
It's the new. We found a really great way of doing this. We will just redefine the meaning of the word cooling to equal boil, and therefore we've solved it. Here we go.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I think and when it comes to, I did a ton of research on this, and I've always, because I always get especially you get a lot of people out there who are stuck on, well, it's taking the water resources, and it's like for every prompt, it's so much water is being used, which none of it is true when you come down to it. So one prompt is equal to 5 drops of water, so about 1/100 or 1,000th of a water bottle. It takes more to basically stream if you're streaming live video, streaming this, it's taking more.
This is one of those things about stories that get separated from their data and then just go wildfire, right? Made to Stick from the Heath brothers is a great book about these sorts of things, because all of this, we're now removed from where's the data? When did you measure? Is this 19? Jesus, Beth. Is this
1999?
Yes, the data centers in 1993. Is
I was
this
there.
2022?
I was there then.
Yes, it's true. Andy actually invented the data centers in 1993.
I didn't want to bring that up, but yeah.
Another Andy job. But it is true that when these things first started, they used more resources than they are using now because of your point about getting more efficient. And so when we remove the actual data source this is from this year, this is the model that was being used, these are the other efficiencies that were added, the story just goes wildfire. And now we have these 2 different stories, but still not associated with its data source.
And there's so many other industries out there that that make this problem so small. Look, golf courses cost more to run.
Yes.
Are wasteful. Agriculture, so many other industries. It's just a hot focus on this. And also there's a net positive, will eventually be a net positive in what AI makes other industries more efficient. And so it's not just localized, because AI it helps other industries, and helps them become more efficient. And that's hard to calculate. There's a few calculations out there already. I'm not going to go into that, but it's still early, but it's on the way up to where it's a total net positive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I came across. Oh, go ahead, Brian.
Brian from the chat popping in and he just read a Fortune piece a minute ago saying SpaceX may intend to buy Tesla after IPO. So thanks, Brian. Still working for us.
I also read this morning, Brian, that the SpaceX IPO will make Elon Musk a trillionaire.
Yeah, I heard that the other day too.
I have a quick explanation of how this zero water system from ZutaCore works. And it may be very similar to the system that Satya was referencing when he talked about it. So it's a closed loop system that doesn't require that the coolant, water in this case, be evaporated in order to create the distribution of the heat. So it's the key here is that they have a non-conductive fluid. The dielectric fluid won't short out the electronics. It can be flowing right over the electronics. So you're basically washing this dielectric fluid right over the highly heat producing circuits that are running the AI. And then, that's why, data centers haven't historically wanted to put the water very close to the electronics, because if you had a leak, then it's going to, ruin all of your stuff. So these cold plates that attach to the chips are filled with this dielectric fluid, and the heat is carried off to a coolant distribution unit. Think of a heat pump, right?
Yeah.
So there's a heat pump there. It's got to have fans, so it's going to consume some electricity to distribute the heat. But that closed loop system is basically like a heat pump, and it's just pumping that out. But I think the advance here is that they use a non-conducting fluid, so it can be circulating right around the electronics.
Oh, that's interesting.
They use like hydrogel or something like that. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, I have one other thing that you ought to know.
Cool.
This is about the safety issues that arise when you have Jasper and other such agents with access to lots of different tools, and also they can be addressed by normal communications channels like WhatsApp or Telegram, etc. So it's this side of it, the communications access, meaning that your agent can go out there and talk to people, and it might find itself talking to shady characters as it's navigating for you out there on the web, or being targeted as a communication channel by nasty actors out there on the web. So Google Gemini was hijacked via a WhatsApp prompt injection attack.
I thought this was the meta story. So go.
No. Researchers demonstrated a successful prompt injection attack on Google Gemini through a WhatsApp message, meaning the attacker could manipulate Gemini's behavior, embedding malicious instructions in the message that the user agent received. And so it then was able to manipulate Gemini. So this is the first widely reported cross-app agent attack. So it's attacking an agent that's it has access to a model, and it's cross-app, meaning it's going through a messaging app, and then it's not working within the same application interface. And it signals that AI assistants gaining access to messaging platforms opens a new attack surface that we have to think about.
Which is why when you set something up, you're supposed to lock it down. So it's only you, it's only maybe your IP address, and you're locking it down incredibly hard. The meta story that I thought you were talking about was earlier in the week, or maybe last week. A bunch of Instagram accounts got hijacked or taken over by the agent, just messaging the meta agent, I would like to update my email address. So it's not even cross-platform. This was just direct bad actor within platform, and the meta agent that is your customer service within those systems, I think, was just sure. What is the new email address? And I think it pushed back once. The screenshots that I saw, of course, had the actual things marked out. But if you saw people earlier in the week saying that I had this great Meta account, it had a bunch of followers, and now I've been locked out of it. Those are related.
And this kind of goes, I mean, I'm just going to call this out now. At this point, I mean, I do believe Google is going to win the AI race in the end because they have all the data, but that's just my personal thoughts. But currently, right now, Gemini and these kind of lower level, like Meta or AIs, I don't trust them. Like I don't trust them at all. The only thing I trust Gemini or Google with is anything creative, like as far as visuals go. I think they're one of the best as far as doing videos and not songs, doing videos and images. And that's if I have to do anything with an image, like analyze an image, analyze a video, I take it to Google. But any side of anything outside of that, I'll use Claude or ChatGPT or Codex. So, or if I need something like real time, like I'll even use Grok. But
What?
what?
You mean SpaceX AI?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I just don't trust. I mean, there's just too much going on.
I know what you're thinking about here. I maintain a pro level subscription to Gemini, and I find it useful in certain areas, but I'm working primarily with Codex and Claude Code. I expect ultimately to use anti-gravity and Joules, but it's not yet there.
Yeah.
They haven't delivered it yet. But I, like you, I believe that in the long run,
Futures.
they will match or surpass
Yes.
the abilities of the others. But once you get to a level of quasi super intelligence in coding, how much do you need? I mean, I'm using Claude Opus 4.7 for a lot of my session time. Why? Because it's damn good and it's doing everything I need it to.
Yeah.
And I am on the verge of turning it over to Opus 4.8 and saying, okay, now look at everything in this project. Tell me what you would do to improve it.
And it kind of makes me wonder though, like, because Google is spread across, like the problems that their use cases they have are far surpass probably any of the other AIs out there or companies out there. They've got a lot of moving parts. If they stopped those moving parts and focused on one thing, I think they would explode. But I also think they're playing a bit of the slow game, like the long game. And so and they're starting to, and they rolled out something yesterday. I forgot what it was called. It's showing.
Brain beans, something
beans
like that.
or something like that. You have to be on the ultra something to get it. Cool
But
beans.
it's in labs. It's a new thing in labs.
Correct.
To help you focus on what's important in
Dream
life.
beans.
Dream beans.
And I'm really excited for it because it seems very similar to what Hux was doing as well, but it's really a personalized information hub for you. And it seems to be proactive based on everything. So it's really analyzing. It's going to get spooky because it's going to think of things before you think of things, I feel like, because Google does a great job of that already. And I see that in the emails or the daily updates that Google does. It's like, oh, you working on this, da, 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 and you should look into this. And I'm like, yep, you're right. I should be doing that. I'm not going to because I don't have time, but I should. So, but it seems like it's doing that stuff that you should be doing proactively. And so I want to try it out. The video looks really cool. And what I read on it looks really cool. I just don't have access because I'm not going to pay $100 a month to up my subscription to get access to it. So I'll wait.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of Hux, I was using Hux, not every day, but every other day or so. I would listen to that and I really enjoyed it. while I'm out working, I have my earbuds in and I'm listening to not only a complete and easy to digest brief of what I need to do that day from email and from calendar, etc., but also they go on to cover all the news that I'm interested in. It will do the research and background like a Notebook LM search around topics it knows I'm interested in. And then it would just give me a little broadcast. It was like I believed that this was going to be the nature of radio going forward.
Yeah.
Right.
Same.
And I really liked it. Now, this all leads up to that they had to kind of give up the ghost because nobody was paying for it. But now inside the Gemini app on your phone is a thing called Daily Brief.
Yep.
And it does pretty much the same thing without the voice, right? It doesn't create a podcast for you that's like a radio show about you and the things you're interested in. And so I believe that Gemini will ultimately make it like Hijacks was, but it's not today.
I think that's part of what, I could be wrong, but I think that's what the missing piece. I knew that was the missing piece. And yesterday, I remember in my head, I was like, there's the missing piece when it came to that dream being.
So they may just have needed to
but
go away from the direct copy initially, because they're no longer, it was from the people at Notebook LM, but they're no longer at Google, are they?
Yeah, no. So the guy who created Notebook LM at Google left and created Hijacks. That's how I
created Hijacks. Yeah.
But like, he's got to know that, like, if he's too, I mean, he had a great idea, but he's got to know he's going to get copied and absorbed basically by his own his previous company. They're on that same route and they're a lot faster than he is. Right. So like, it was interesting. It was an interesting move on his part. And I wonder what.
But it wasn't unprecedented. There are many occasions on which internal Google folks have left, gone out, started their thing, and been acquired back by Google.
Right.
Just to advance Google's delivery of products that had been fashioned, designed, and delivered externally by an ex-Googler.
And Google has that as part of their internal, like how people work, you're allowed to experiment and create.
That's right. The 20% of your time that's affordable to whatever you want to do.
And I love that because it's very entrepreneurial. But it does give them the idea that you can go see if the grass is greener, but we're going to just take you over later. But I do love that about Google because I think that's one of their biggest strengths. But yeah, I wonder what he's doing now. I hope he's doing something big.
Well, and it's the startup mentality, right? Yeah. Like you get to do it while you're at work to a certain point, and then it makes sense to leave. And if you were doing it at Google and you leave, and it's something that Google is promoting, like the core technology of it, you've shifted some. The assumption, I would think, is that you get to come back if you didn't burn any bridges, or come back because they bought you, or whatever that is. But voice, I think we're seeing the explosion of voice, both as the interface, right? People talking to their computers through Whisper, Flow, etc., because it's faster. We're also seeing the explosion of voice as like real-time voice, like the hackathon that you were just mentioning at the beginning of the show, Gareth. But there is something about voice that isn't quite roped in so that it is easy to implement. Because I'm seeing that in this Hijacks situation. I'm seeing it in the need to do the hackathon and that kind of thing. Like there's some disconnect somewhere. Maybe it's way more expensive to get a voice, but it doesn't seem like it should be, because there are open source projects that do it just as well. But I feel like whatever is making that a mountain to climb is gonna happen and get more efficient-fied. Sure. Greater efficiency by the end of 2026, so that we'll see that happens a little bit more.
Okay, we're over time, but I just wanted to ask you, Gareth, if you posted yesterday in the Slack, in our community Slack, something that was very interesting to me, which was the Matt Van Horn X, or maybe it was you or you and Carl and Delia, but the every agentic engineering hack I know. He listed the entire thing, and with instruction that copy and paste this entire article, give it to your coding agent, and ask it to get most of that done by tomorrow morning, right?
Yeah.
And tell us about that, and then also how this marries up with Jasper.
I didn't do that, but it did spark another idea, which I did post that, and I think in the Codex Slack channel. And that was basically look at my own personal hacks and how I use them. And so I basically created a prompt, and I posted the prompt in the channel to kind of analyze how I work within Codex. And very interesting on the things that I do, and it kind of tells me what I need to improve on. But I then took it a step further. In the bottom of it, I created an agent to basically clone myself and how I work. And so I'm hoping, I haven't gotten it there yet, is to create an agent. So it's basically a clone agent of how I create or develop products. I can just say, hey, agent, go do this.
Right.
And it will then go do it. But his hacks were very interesting. Like, there was a lot of cool insights to it. Definitely.
By the way, the overarching sort of architectural direction is compound engineering.
Yes, correct. I was going to call that out too.
That's been a big advocate of the every compound engineering approach, and that this fellow Matt Van Horn, I don't know if he's connected to Every or in any way, but he's basically promoting CE at /CE, and the skills that are a part of that compound engineering stack.
Yeah,
and
the compound engineering plugin, sort of, it didn't explode so much as it just moved through dev teams. So like there are people at Google who are using compound engineering thing. Like it just was the right package at the right moment. So that doesn't surprise me, even if he's not associated with Every, other than that he likes this.
There was another one in there. I'm just looking for it, and that was a last 30 days. I thought was a really good tip. I'm trying to scroll through all of them. I mean, there's a lot of tips in there. But what was it? It was last 30 days research, and it was like, it's like how I work in the last 30 days. I don't see it anymore.
Anyway, maybe for just to let everybody in our community know that it's worth looking at this, and just if you have aspirations to improve the scaffolding that you've created on your machine for engineering, this is a kind of a shortcut to getting to a very advanced such configuration. I'm a little nervous about doing the thing while I'm in the middle of coding projects, but I do trust Beth's adherence to compound engineering as a discipline and that methodology. And so this engineering hack article that's posted by Gareth in our community Slack in one of the channels, maybe you'll remember where you put that, Gareth.
I know where it's at. It's in the Top of Mind AI channel.
Top of Mind AI chat. Yeah. So go there, click through that link and copy it and save it somewhere, because you might very soon want to implement, if you're doing any kind of vibe coding at all, you'll want to configure your Claude or Codex with this engineering hack system.
And maybe we've been talking behind the scenes about how we could get more demos for folks. And one of the challenges with demos is it working online and it working within a small period of time when we have an hour show with us. So maybe there'll be some demo times, maybe like it's the second part of the show. We do the news, everything. People who have to leave at the top of the hour can leave, and then someone does a demo, or we'll find a different way. because I talk about compound engineering a lot, but I realize no one's actually seen it the way that it would work.
I don't fully understand what's distinct about that method as compared to other methods, and whether or not Claude Code and or Codex already know most of this and can implement it effectively without having the framework delivered to them as an external sort of knowledge base.
And I do have an answer for that, because the way that Claude Code is set up with internal, with system prompts and Codex as well, they think they know. So I'm like, hey, yeah, no, we're going to build a plan. We're going to use the compound engineering thing to build a plan. Like, sure, here we go. I wrote the plan. Did you use compound engineering? No, I wrote the plan. I don't need compound engineering. I'm like, do the plan. It does the plan through that. It's like, oh, you're right. This is better, but it doesn't get written to memory and it doesn't override the system prompt the next time we do it.
That's what I think. Yeah, stuff like GStack, it is really good. Like, it's almost annoyingly good, because it's like it doesn't even go anywhere. It goes straight to GStack before it does anything.
Yeah,
and it goes to
that's GBrain too, right? What you're talking
GStack
about
is part of GBrain. Yeah, GStack is like the stack, and then GBrain is part of GStack.
Right.
G because Gary with 2 R's.
Okay, so I want the two of you who are at the vanguard of this sort of thing. I want the two of you to deliver to us tomorrow, Friday, a disambiguation of Hermes plus, and Jasper Jarvis plus, and compound engineering, Claude Code and or Codex. How are each of these things different? What are their application spaces? And which ones of them should we be pursuing? Should I spend my time on building my Jasper? Should I build my Hermes? Or should I just engineer hack my way into better coding ability for my Claude and Codex instances?
Cool. All right. Right after I look up disambiguation, I will get on that. Thank you. And yeah.
No, go ahead. I would say I found the last 30 days, it's a skill that was talked about in their thing. And so it researches news and stuff like that, but it's pretty interesting. I'll post it in the Slack.
All right. Cool. And the Slack that everyone is talking about is in fact our community Slack at dailyaishowcommunity.com. Up there on the screen, and we are going to wrap up for today. Thanks for hanging with us, and we'll be back tomorrow. Apparently, Gareth and I will be sharing tons of information tomorrow.
That'll be good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. All right.
I hope that it'll actually get me to the point of saying, okay, I'm pulling the trigger on one of these things, and I'm going to do it over the weekend.
I know what we're going to say tomorrow. Which is, it depends what your system is, right? Yeah. What your situation
or what you're doing.
And I do think I know what I'm going to say for you, Andy, but let's let me disambiguate, get my disambiguation on, and tune in tomorrow to see what Gareth and Beth say about this situation. All right, everybody, go build with AI, and thanks for hanging with us.
Thank you.